Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech protected.
Good evening, and welcome to April 1st, 2021, 6 p.m. My name is Bill Morse, and you have dropped in on the program What Do You Think? Program whereby I ask the viewers questions and they call back or they call in with their feedback. This is a call-in program. This is about what you think on a particular topic. And that's the engine. That's the engine that keeps this going. Tonight, or this evening, we're going to be covering two topics. The first topic, I'm going to present a situation that came about this weekend, over this past weekend, that you may not have heard about because it was not in the mainstream media. And the second is a follow-through on a proposal to pass along your questions to Vermont Senator Patrick Leahy. I'll get into that in a little bit, probably in about 10 minutes' time. But first, I want to just give a brief oral report on an incident that took place this past Sunday, I believe, in Dallas at the Holy Trinity Catholic Church. This incident took place during Mass that morning, and in this parish, the priest, who is Father Milton Ryan, the pastor of Holy Trinity Church in Dallas, has required all parishioners that attend Mass to wear a mask. All right. The bishop, who is Bishop Edward Burns in Dallas, has given all of his pastors and all of the parishes under his jurisdiction the autonomy to decide whether or not masks would be required. Now, you probably already know that masks are not generally required in Texas, as is the case in Florida. They are not in an emergency situation. They are not under lockdown conditions as we are here in Vermont. You may know that our emergency, decreed by Governor Phil Scott, is in effect until April 15th, whereby the quarantines and the social distancing, the mask wearing, etc., is all required through the governor's mandates. So we'll see after the 15th if he decides to continue the state of emergency, or if he ends the state of emergency and allows the state citizens to get back to normal life. But anyway, back to Dallas. The bishop gave, as I said, each priest and each parish the autonomy to make the decision, mask or no mask. Of course, all the parishes have social distancing, and I believe at Holy Trinity, which if you look at the website, looks like a fairly good-sized parish. They have a community center and other programs going on. Their church attendance is limited to 50 people, 50, which really isn't a lot. And I believe in some places, I'm not sure about Holy Trinity, you have to call and make a reservation before you show up. Well, anyway, what happened was, as you can guess, a mother with a 2-year-old child showed up at Mass and sat down by herself, socially distanced. And halfway through the Mass, the priest, Father Milton Ryan, the pastor of Holy Trinity, came up and told her to put a mask on, that he was requiring it for all those in attendance. She refused. And so the priest called the Dallas Police Department, and a policeman showed up, came up to the woman with her child, and said, they don't want you here, you need to leave. You are going to be charged with trespass. And the woman, whose name was Deirdre Hairston, the mother, replied or asked if she was under arrest, and the officer said, no, not this time. If you refuse to leave, I will have to place you under arrest, but I'm giving you a warning and I'm asking you to leave right now. So she left. The usher who was there in that part of the church was a little overboard in his approach. He photographed her. He photographed her car. He photographed the car's license plate. This is the usher. And threatened her not to return to the church. So, my question to you, and I think this is an important one because I'm sure this is a situation that has repeated itself many times. It's just that we do not hear about it. It's not reported on in the mainstream media. How did I find out about this? I found out about it through an online newspaper that I think doesn't fabricate the news. It is opinionated. All news sources are opinionated, and you have to kind of read between the lines. But if you're interested in checking out this story and reading it for yourself, the newspaper is called The Epic Times, and Epic is spelled E-P-O-C-H, Epic. The Epic Times. And I read about this story in the Tuesday edition. So, my question to you, did the priest act properly in calling the police? Did Father Ryan act properly in calling the Dallas police and having the woman forcibly removed from Mass? And was the usher also in the right, acted reasonably in taking her photograph, photographing her car, photographing her license plate, and warning her never to return? I'm curious what your reaction is to this ejection from Mass, and if you would have acted the same way as the priest in holding the line, or if you would have acted differently. I'd like your opinion because I'm very, very curious as to where people would stand. I will add that according to the newspaper, there was no mention of anyone else without a mask. There was no reaction from the parishioners that were there in attendance. Perhaps there was, but it was not reported. If this woman was known in the church community, perhaps the response would have been different. But regardless, whether she was a regularly attending parishioner or she was visiting, she was there as a guest, it really shouldn't make any difference whether she was a stranger or someone that the people, perhaps the priest, knew by name. His words were interesting. When he approached the woman, the mother with her child in the pew, he said, "You be a good Catholic, and you put your mask on. You comply." And so I thought that was an interesting choice of words, being a good Catholic and complying. The priest cited that he had canon law behind him to support his position that he could dictate the conditions of attendance in his church. Now, do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think there was perhaps a different path of action that he could have chosen? I really am neutral as far as the police reaction. The police were there because they were called. They did not come there on their own. And so they're kind of out of the equation. They're doing their job, and that was to respond to a call. So let's see if we have someone who's interested in commenting. Oh, we do. Hello, Kurt. Are you interested in commenting on this story?
Yes, I have to say it's an interesting dilemma. It's almost like a reversal of the separation of church and state. I think, I would say it even goes beyond being insensitive for the priest or anyone in the church to have the woman arrested. I think that was inappropriate, but I think there could have been a better way of maybe trying to discuss the situation and ask her to kindly leave, but not taking that particular tack. Even though the state of Texas has waived the mask law, there are cities in Texas that still mandate it, so it's not statewide. I think over the last year we've learned that there's no question that masks help in inhibiting the disease from being passed on from one to another. And certainly in an enclosed environment like a church, where people are basically in a controlled environment, without masks, the more the people, the more the risk that there could be a passage of the disease if someone had it. I think it's not inappropriate for them to request that the members wear the mask, but to actually mandate it and enforce it by sending the police, I think is really beyond the scope of what they should be doing.
Well, actually,
I don't know how bellicose the person was in terms of trying to, create an argument or a scene in the church. I mean, on her side, that could have been inappropriate. I don't know anything what happened, and who knows, sometimes that demeanor can actually cause somebody to make the wrong action and maybe call the police, like this person is just not going to be cooperative. But that's a tough call. It really is. I mean, the rights of the remaining people that are in the church and their concern for health, I mean, I don't think it's necessarily appropriate for the church to say, we want to see you have a mask, but in terms of trying to mandate it, that's another problem. And I mean, I really don't have an answer for that. But, it's just without this country being inoculated with a higher percentage, and now we're starting to hear of an uptick in, COVID cases, particularly here in New England. I mean, they're saying we may be on the cusp of a fourth, occurrence, a wave of this. And I don't know. To me, it sounds a little too early to just waive mask, requirements and let's just jump out into things as being normal. I don't think we're ready yet because the percentage of people that have been inoculated really isn't that high. Remember how quickly this propagated across the country when this thing started. I mean, we heard about it in late January, and we're already experiencing deaths in March. So, I mean, until more people actually have inoculations, I mean, I don't know what kind of chance everybody has to actually say goodbye to this disease. I hope it happens. But I'm actually prepared to wear masks even in the next year if it's necessary. I just want to do whatever my part is and anybody else's to try to put an end to this. So that's about it.
Okay. In all fairness to the church, Holy Trinity in Dallas, and to the police department, and to Father Milton Ryan, she was escorted out. She was not arrested, but she was warned not to return to church, period. So, it sounds like an excommunication, at least from that parish. And
Wow.
it's very it's interesting. Again, you just get one snapshot from one angle of the incident. It's not like there's a video to watch. And the people who, I believe the parish priest was given a chance to respond to the reporter who wrote the article, as well as the bishop, but there was no response from either parish office or the bishop's office. So, and that often happens. It's especially if this is something that happened within the last couple of days, or the day before yesterday, which was the case since this article appeared on Tuesday. So, but very good. I appreciate that insight, and I'm hoping that we have a few other people that would like to weigh in on this. I'm sure we have many people here in our area that do attend worship or church services, whether they're in a small congregation or a larger one, and would like to know what their experience is. Do they sympathize with this mother? Do they sympathize with the priest who is seeking to control the situation? It's as you said, Kurt, it's difficult. So we'll see. We have another person on the line. So, Kurt, we will be in touch very soon.
Well, thank you again for your time.
What you can do, please stay on the line if you'd like to hear what the next caller has to say.
All right, thank you.
All right, so. And so just waiting for the second caller to come in. It's just taking a minute, so please be patient. Dun, dun, dun. We're still in joining mode. Okay, we'll try again. I don't know if this is the same person. Excellent. I'm getting another readout here. Hello, welcome to the program.
Hi, Bill. I'm about to give my opinion on this church fiasco.
Oh, okay, sure.
It's a pretty complex issue, but at the end of the day, when it comes to a church, I'm less worried about all the legal and more about the doctrine. And I think it's completely inappropriate for a priest to be asking any person of faith to leave the church, especially over masks, because that is nonsense when it comes to faith. I don't know if you're a man of faith, but in Luke chapter 5, verses 12 and 13, you would see, I won't go too long on this tangent for you, you see Jesus lays his hand on a leper, which would imply that Christians are not supposed to be afraid of sickness. They're supposed to continue about their Christian lifestyle without fear. And then I also think calling the police was the wrong way to handle that too. And I don't think the police officer had any right to ask them to leave either, because the priests are not the owner of the church, because the church belongs to God.
Okay. That's That's definitely a valid perspective. Uh, as Kurt also mentioned, there could have been a middle ground approach to this. If the woman was sitting by herself, you could have asked her to wait till the end of Mass before leaving, wait till everyone else had left the space. Again, they had already socially distanced to the extent that only 50 people, 50, were allowed in a rather large church. This is not a small chapel. And so you had, I'm going to guess, at least 10 feet distance between this mother, her child, and the other parishioners. So I think my approach would have been, would you please, if you're not going to wear a mask, I can't serve you communion. Um, Perhaps we can make other arrangements, but I'm going to ask you to please stay seated or stay in your pew until everyone has left. And then this way, no one feels uncomfortable. And boom, she gets to stay. We continue with Mass without the intervention of law enforcement, which the cop was just answering a call. The priest, evidently according to the law, could have said she was trespassing because the woman, Mrs. Hairston, did not have the priest's permission to be there in the church. I know that's also a contentious point.
That is
But
the
my,
law, yes.
yes, but that would have been my solution. Have her wait until everybody else left, and then boom.
I think that would have been a very acceptable way to handle it if you were to be afraid of a virus.
Yes, yes. What do you think, Kurt? Does that sound like a better approach?
Correct. I like the other gentleman's approach as well. It was an interesting comment. Really, what rights do police have inside of church? Not just our country, but others. But that would have been certainly a way to diffuse the situation, not actually withhold her religious rights from occurring in his church, but try to just delay them in respect for the others who are concerned for their health.
Yes.
That's something that I think that's a good possibility as an alternative.
Okay, very good. I know that Mayor Lori Lightfoot in Chicago last year sent the police to a church gathering that she had forbidden, evidently in the earlier stages of the pandemic scare. Mayor Lightfoot had, what's the word? I want to say verboten, but forbidden the church assemblies. And so this church in the neighborhood of Chicago decided to meet anyway. And so they did. I don't believe they were socially distancing, and I don't believe they had masks on. The police, the police were brought in, not just one officer, but many officers, and they emptied the church. Now, did the police have the right to do that? This also has happened in Brooklyn with Hasidic congregations, in which Mayor de Blasio has sent New York City police into temples to clear the temples. Does he have the constitutional right to do this? If it's an emergency, a state of emergency, my first reaction would be yes. Then my next question would be, what constitutes the state of emergency, and how far-reaching can these mandates be? It's a question that both you fellas, I think you would agree, it has not been resolved, and I think I'm disappointed in our judicial system for not actively taking up and being more aggressive in taking into consideration lawsuits that have surfaced whereby groups say you're taking away our constitutional right of assembly, our access to church services, etc., etc. And your mandates are unconstitutional. I think that jury is still out. I'm disappointed in the ACLU. I'm disappointed in the NAACP. I am disappointed in the Southern Poverty Law Center for not taking up the question of personal liberties in view of mask mandates. So, especially the child was, the woman had the mother, I should say. The mother had a child. I'm assuming, and if I'm wrong, so much the better, that that father Ryan wanted the child, the 2-year-old child, to wear a mask as well. There I start having a problem because you have a child that's in the formation stage. I'm sorry, I don't know the correct word. Formative stages of physical development, and extended periods of mask wearing do bring down that child's immune system. So I don't think the answer has been delivered by the court, a finding, I should say. I don't want to say answer. It's a finding. And so I am upset that so-called civil rights groups have been staying away from this question. What about the civil rights of everybody? Not just a particular special interest group. So that's really all I can say about that. Kurt, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, your points are fine. I mean, the question of people's personal rights is supposedly guaranteed, but I mean, in a situation like this, which is really unprecedented on a worldwide scale, really we're kind of breaching some new ground here that you're right. It hasn't been addressed, and who really knows the right answer? I mean, there's got to be finer minds than I that have to determine, because I don't think there's an end to this. If you look at the frequency of things such as Ebola and SARS and so forth, it seems that viruses are coming here at a faster rate. And yeah, we have to kind of sit back and think, how can we do this? We can't imperil the nation and completely shut down all manufacturing and all activity, but on the other hand, we can't afford to lose millions of people either. So, I mean, there's some hard decisions that have to be made, and really, we have to start thinking of them soon. So I really don't think, I'd love to say that it would be, but I don't think this thing's going to be over this year.
I would tend to agree in that there will be different waves. I know that in Germany they're dealing with what they call the United Kingdom wave of variants in this virus. And I read somewhere whereby they're expecting 5 waves to sweep over the globe. And in your opinion, would you say that this is intentional biological warfare, or is this just accidents at the lab that got out of control?
In my case, I honestly don't know, but I mean, when all you can do is listen to the media, and it seems there's certainly an opportunity that this could have been a lab-generated thing that got out. And because of the delay in the investigation through the agencies, waiting a year to actually dig in and try to find out, it's probably already too late to get a real answer. But I certainly think the possibility's there, because I know both our nation and also China both experiment with chemical warfare. So
that's
no surprise to me.
That's true. And a lot of people are under the suspicion that this releasing of the virus was intentional, even to the extent of damaging the host's own economy. Perhaps this is part of a larger plan whereby you bring down almost to a near standstill commerce, as you say, you bring up unemployment, you create fear of food shortages, of fuel shortages. It's really it's really a hell of a fix that most of the world is in. And with technology, and I think this is why it's so difficult to grasp. Technology can create news now. Uh, they're doing it, I think, with computer-generated images or CGI. It's very easy now. We have the vast majority of media outlets, let's say 90%, are controlled by a small group of people. What's the motivation of those people? What narrative are they going to constantly push out there? Is it to stir the pot, to create fear, to create strife and division so that we are weak and then more apt to join a worldwide organization? And I think that's quite a possibility that does not get enough talk. I think that there's ulterior motives and fear, or succumbing to fear and not critically questioning the information we're given, to simply comply and hope it goes away. That's not going to work. If we comply without questioning, it will continue. And we will be wearing masks even if we are vaccinated. And for me, that's a big issue. That means that someone has not been on the level in promoting these experimental vaccines, and that even with the jab, you are still going to be required to socially distance and to wear a mask. And again, my thoughts go back to children, how this affects their physical and emotional development. And we need to get to the bottom of this. We need to bring the American people and the world in on what's happening. And I think we are presently ill-served by our civil rights organizations, and we are ill-served by a media that just gives us more outrageous news as distractions. The other fellow that was on the line, would you like to add something? Okay. All right, very good. Well, we do have somebody else. Hi, welcome aboard, and thank you for waiting. I'll just take a minute. The person is joining us right now. Okay. So, Kurt, stay on and listen if you'd like, and because I want to hear what this person has to say, and then just a quick intro to our questions for Senator Leahy. Let's see. Is that person coming in? Okay, the other person decided not to go through with the call. All right. Anyway, I'm going to move on. If you would like to weigh in on this, you're welcome to call back next Thursday, and we'll briefly rediscuss this particular story. I know that this broadcast is shown during the week, so if you call, and okay, we've got our caller back. Hello, you're on the air with Bill Morse. Okay, just waiting. Okay, very good. Hi, you're on the air with Bill Morse right now. Hello? Oh, do I have to click on? No, I guess not. More. Chat. Okay. So, Samantha, you should be able to hear me. Hello? Okay, for some reason we have a technical glitch. Samantha, if you can hear me, I apologize. If you would like to call back next Thursday at 6. Okay, here we go. We've got a connecting to. Sir, my internet is poor. I can't hear your voice. Okay. All right, very good. Well, now I can. Okay, very good. Is there a point that you would like to bring up, Samantha, with regards to this story out of Dallas?
Yes, sir. I want to say you are talking about the main again.
Okay. Could you repeat what you said because there was a slight distortion with the audio?
Okay. You.
I'm also going to admit, I'm also going to bring in another caller, Mario. So please stay on the line, or please stay with us. Let's see. Ask to unmute. All right, for some reason you're muted, Mario. Hello, Mario. You're on with Bill Morse, and was there something you would like to add to what's already been said about this story out of Dallas?
Hey, host. I want to add a something to it.
We've got 6 people in the waiting room. All right, we'll try a couple of more times. Hello, am I getting through to anybody?
Sir, I want to add hairs on your head.
Oh, yes, please go right ahead. We're listening.
I want to add hairs on your head.
Okay. Too bad I can't see you. Maybe I'd put a hat on yours. All right, we are out of time, boys and girls. So, next week, all right, we will...
Sir, how many times do you jerk off because you don't have any hair?
Let's see. I think it's time for you to say good night. All right,
Sir,
I'll tell you
do you have
later. I'll tell you later.
Sir, do you sex?
I'll tell
with
you
your
later.
girlfriend?
Let's see.
Sir, do you have
Okay,
wives?
I think we will continue with the questions for Patrick Day when we come back on Thursday. I am speaking Thursday. Okay, very good. We'll talk another time and we'll take care of the boys and girls on the line. Have a good night.